Hi, everybody. Welcome to the 8th and final episode of 1,000 Miles of Desert and Mountains. We're excited to have author Terri Farley with us today, so let's get started. Welcome. I'm Robin with the University Libraries, and we're so glad to have you with us today for our final episode of 1,000 Miles of Desert and Mountains. Joining us today is author and educator Terri Farley. She'll be walking us through the process of writing from the perspective of an animal. Before we catch up with Terri, let's see where George and Josephine are today. The date of today's passage is Tuesday, August 25th. George and Josephine have spent their last night camping in Nevada and are about 1 mile south of Bridgeport, California. As they're making their way from Nevada, they are following the Walker River, and George notes that the road followed the noisy river for about 10 miles. Did you know the Walker River is 62 miles long? In contrast to the desert landscape they've witnessed these past months, they're now seeing green pastures of alfalfa growing to the foot of the hills and wild roses flanking the road. George wrote that the sagebrush is growing 6 to 7 feet high. Eventually, George and Josephine come to a bridge and find themselves having to get creative in order to help the very cautious burros cross over the bridge over the very noisy river. George described having to blindfold poor trembling Jack, pushing and pulling him across the bridge, while they used a pan of barley to tempt Cyclone across, inch by inch. Ultimately, they all made it across the river, and George and Josephine pushed the wagon across the bridge. Then they made their way into California, where they continued their adventure. Now let's check into this week's vocabulary. Our first word this week is logy. Logy is an adjective and means dull and heavy in motion or thought, sluggish. Next up this week, attractive. Attractive is an adjective and means pleasing or appealing to the senses. Our next word this week is alfalfa. Alfalfa is a noun and means a leguminous plant with clover-like leaves and bluish flowers. Our next word is blindfold. Blindfold is a verb and means to deprive someone of sight by tying a piece of cloth around the head so as to cover the eyes. Our next word this week is trembling. Trembling is an adjective and means shaking or quivering, typically as a result of anxiety, excitement, or frailty. Our next word is munching. Munching is a verb and means to eat something with a continuous and often audible action of the jaws. Our next word this week is barley. Barley is a noun and means a hearty cereal that has coarse bristles extending from the ears. Next up this week, ditch. Ditch is a noun and means a narrow channel dug in the ground, typically used for drainage alongside a road or the edge of a field. And our final word this week is luxury. Luxury is a noun and means the state of great comfort and extravagant living. Congratulations on all your hard work mastering new vocabulary and concepts. With today's words, we have learned a total of 72 words and concepts. Great job. Now I'd like to introduce you to Terri Farley. You may be familiar with her work. She is the author of the very loved The Phantom Stallion series. There are 24 books in this series that feature main character Sam Forster and the beautiful wild stallion. So Terri has a lot of experience writing about animals and writing from the perspective of animals. She's going to share her tips with you right now. So let's go meet Terri.
Hi, I'm Terri Farley, and I write books. So we're going to talk about writing, but the kind of books I write usually have animals as some of the main characters. So we're going to talk about how to write like an animal. Actually, not like this, write like an animal, but how you can get into the sort of like the head of an animal, so that when you're writing, you're letting your reader know that they are seeing this world through an animal's eyes. Now, eyes. We're going to talk about the 5 senses. You have 5 senses. Most animals have 5 senses. So in the book, in the diary, there are 3 animals that I want to kind of focus on. And those are Cyclone, the mischievous burro, and Puni, the dog, who is the protector, and maybe the cat. So think about those 3 animals and realize that they see things. They have eyes like you do. They see, they hear, they smell, they taste, and they touch, and they feel. So when you're writing, you can write about anything, and you've got everything you need right here, all like above your heart, to give you clues on how you should write. So let's think about seeing. The cat spends his whole day in a bag in the wagon, riding along, and then when they get where they're going, he gets out. And cats can see pretty well in the dark. In fact, most animals can see in the dark better than you can. So the cat is in this strange new place, looking at what's all around him. And you've been in the dark in Nevada, in high desert areas. You know what you would see. So you can write as if you were the cat seeing things. Let's shift to the burro, to Cyclone, or one of the other burros, Tucson, Chino, and they have big ears. So let's talk about sound. Their ears are shaped kind of like a cup, so they will catch all the sound. And what are they going to hear as they travel along? They'll hear each other clopping along. They'll hear the people talking. They might hear the cat struggling around in his bag because he's sick of riding that way. But then, remember when somebody kind of starts to invade their camp late at night? Ooh, I know those burros' ears were tilted because the dog, Puni, smelled a stranger, and he probably barked. So the burros are listening, the cat is listening, the people sure were listening and reacting to what the dog smelled. So if you're writing like a dog, you are going to be sniffing some sagebrush. You'd be sniffing your people and the animals you know. And then there might be a smell coming across that is a stranger. Next, taste. One of the things Cyclone was kind of mischievous about was taking the other burros' food. And sometimes it was grass. So what would that taste like? Well, you can taste grass if you want to, but you can also imagine what grass would taste like. And it's green and usually pretty soft. If there's hay for the burros, and there was sometimes, it would be more crunchy and drier. The last thing that applies to the people, the animals, everybody, is feeling things. So not only is it touching, it's also feeling the heat or the rain or the cold. You'll remember that both the dog and the cat that like to prowl around at night, when they're done prowling and their curiosity is floated away, they decide that they're kind of cold. Now that's not something they touch, but it's something they feel. And what do? They go over and first they lay on the people's feet and then they cuddle under the covers. So right there, if you think about what we just talked about, you've got things that can be seen, heard, smelled, tasted, and touched. Good luck.
Thank you so much, Terri. For more about Terri's books and work, please check out her website. And in case you're wondering, Terri spoke to us from beautiful Bartley Ranch Park in Reno, Nevada. That's it for this week's episode and for the series. Before we sign out today, I would like to say thank you to some very special people who helped make this project possible. Thank you to all our guest speakers, Kim Anderson, Chrissy Klenke, Emily Reed, Tiffany Pereira, Garrett Barmore, Michael Branch, and Terri Farley. Thank you to the wonderful crew over at the Washoe County Libraries who helped deliver the podcasts, worksheets, and videos to you each and every week. Joan, John, Jennifer, and the rest of the crew, thank you. And thank you to our team here at the University Libraries, Kim Anderson, Laura Rock, and Elspeth Olson in Special Collections, Nathan Girth, Emily Dunster, and Catherine Dirk in Digital Services, Lucas Starmer and Michelle Revelati from the @ONE, who all helped bring this project to life. A couple special thank yous to A.G. Long over at the Desert Research Institute for creating all those math and science worksheet questions. And a big shout out and thank you to Jeremiah G. Nelson. Jeremiah, thank you for bringing George and Josephine's adventure to life in our imaginations with your beautiful voice. On our journey together, we hope you have learned a little about Nevada geography, mining, history, native plants, animals, writing, journaling, and so much more. But more than anything, we hope that George and Josephine's adventure has sparked your desire to record the world around you. Thank you for being a part of the project, and we invite you to explore more of the many wonderful materials contained within collections, in special collections, and university archives at the University Libraries at the University of Nevada, Reno. And with that, George, Josephine, Cyclone, Tucson, Chino, Jack, Puni, and Mebby, along with me, Robin, wish you many wonderful adventures of your own. And don't forget to keep on journaling. Bye-bye.